We have finally 2 weeks, and I tell you, we have 2 weeks. The wait is finally over. Dynasty Warriors Origins is finally going to be here. But is this the bold new direction that fans have been hoping for? We literally need to talk about it, right? As we are 2 weeks away, we need to actually have a good old talk. And I want to sit down and talk to you guys about it because I'm pretty hyped about it, but I have a lot of high hopes for this game and I want it to foster. So in this video, I want to just break down like some of the 5 reasons why we should be excited about this launch, mainly from the overall game-changing combat mechanics, or a brand new fresh take of the Three Kingdoms stories, and to see whether it was take the series to a new height, or overall just see will we just become divided as longtime fans of the series. But before we hop in, what's up, Chaotic fam? It's your host, ChaosDTV, and this is your chill spot for all things RPGs news, reviews, as well as guides. Today's video, we are talking about Dynasty Warriors Origins and just seeing the overall hype about this game. And one of the main things that I want to overall talk about is the overall return to roots. Now, yes, with Dynasty Warriors Origins, this is an overall return to, return to the overall beginnings. Origins is aiming to capture the whole thing of what made the series good as a whole is the 1v1000 action that defined the early Dynasty Warriors games. And Koei Tecmo and Omega Force is now bringing Dynasty Warriors to a brand new audience, and that's the part that may start streamlining because a lot of people have never touched a Dynasty Warriors game at all. And for fans, longtime fans of Dynasty Warriors, we were basically left with a sour taste in our mouth when it came to Dynasty Warriors 9, and I wasn't the biggest fan of it myself, and it's been quite some time since I even delved back into the older Dynasty Warriors games. So for me personally, Dynasty Warriors Origins is definitely going to be a nice fresh take from when I used to play the older games back in the day, between 3, 4, and 5, and some of the extremes out there. And of course, the spinoffs. I really enjoyed playing the spinoffs. I like playing Orochi Warriors and Samurai Warriors. I like playing the spinoffs. They were fun as well. So hopefully when Dynasty Warriors Origins comes out, whether it's coming out to this new audience of players or even just coming back to our longtime fans, hopefully it does great. I have great high hopes for it because I want it to prosper. I want it to soar. The combat, the new massive battles, and thanks to the demo, Koei they were confident in this, and I got a chance to play the demo. The demo was still available on Steam, and bro, the game was fire. I do have a video of me covering the demo, giving my overall review of what to expect in the demo and what we could possibly expect in the later forefront. But the return to roots is one of the main big things that why you should be hyped for Dynasty Warriors Origins, because it's going back to the old days. Now, this may not be too much for newer players, but for us older veteran players, this is definitely something refreshing, so to speak. It's a breath of fresh air, which I'll talk a little bit about that later. But overall, for anybody who does not know what Dynasty Warriors is, it is the best game to really give you that power fantasy that a lot of people like to utilize and like to see in their games. Warframe is definitely one of those MMOs that allows you to really feel like you're a badass no matter what. Cyberpunk too, but Dynasty Warriors always really scratch the itch to make you feel like you're this awesome badass general marching down the armies upon armies, and this goes back to that 1v1000. So it fits both, and we're going back to that. So overall, the return to roots is one of the reasons why we should be hyped for it. But not only does the return to roots, that brings me on to my next point, which is the character or roster focus, right? So what that basically entails, right? What that entails. The character focus, if you look at some of the older Dynasty Warriors games, the characters were out the fucking ass, right? We had hundreds. I think it was over 90 different playable characters, right? But this time around, we don't have to worry about them spending a budget for over 90 characters. Not every character needs this unique, crazy moveset or different ending, so to speak, or, was something that did really make the game very replayable, which I know a lot of people are very upset about that, but I need to just take you down just a little bit, right? Remember, Dynasty Warriors Origins is a reboot, so we need to be somewhat susceptible to change. What that basically means is with the new character roster, we're actually down almost a complete third of that roster. If I'm not mistaken, there was, I believe there's only 9 if I look at my notes here. Yeah, I think we went down from 90 plus characters to almost 9. Yeah, we went down almost 90% of the roster to just 9 different officers that allows you to play as. Now, when we played the demo, they allowed us to play with 3 of those officers. So I'm not too upset about this decision. It just shows that Omega Force is really trying to hone in on the fact that this is a reboot of the entire series. As time grew on with all of the Dynasty Warriors games, plus the spinoffs, all of the focus did not always go back into the game, which leads us back into the trail that Dynasty Warriors 9 gave us, man. So them thinking like, okay, this is something that is not well needed, that's something that I can get behind. And it's not like this is it, right? This is not like, oh my God, this is all over. Why did they do this? They can possibly do some form of DLC, right? And we get to now thoroughly enjoy the Three Kingdoms story with a new lens and a little bit more fleshed out than probably the other games could, because now they didn't need to focus all of the budget into making the roster and all that stuff. They can continue doing that later, or they can see how Dynasty Warriors Origins, like how the fans, react to this game, and if it receives well and, money, they get a lot of money in, the critics review it properly. Overall, there's a lot to really make this game good. And that's one thing I can say is that the character focus, yes, we did lose what made the game, the roster that made the game crazy is what it is, but slowing it down and focusing on a more smaller party makes it a little bit easier to work with. Which now, speaking about the budget, now that they had time to rethink things, let's talk about a little bit of the overall battles and the exploration. So every single area is like large, right? Every single area is large, and it goes back into the tactical side of things, right? So this game is a action plus tactical base, and I love when I was playing the demo, the maps and stuff were thoroughly large, and it really goes back into that 1v1000. Overall, this is a semi-new approach to the way the game works. But once you play the demo, you can understand that there is strategy. And I love how the open world aspect of this map. There's 2 different variations. You actually have the overview map where you can actively travel to and from locations, talk to different officers. And then, of course, when it's time to go complete a mission, you can actually go in, and those mission maps are pretty large. And it goes more into the strategy. So you can help increase morale by taking down different camps and stuff of that nature. There's plenty of events that play out, and one of the battles that we were able to play as in the demo was the Battle of Sishui. And you can kind of see where some of that strategy comes in, thanks to like things like the grand tactics, which is basically both you and the enemy can be able to do it, and it's just a way to turn the tide on a battle on the opposite or the opposing faction. But during my time playing, there's a lot of decisions that get made early on, so it kind of fits both worlds of people who enjoy strategy and action. And I feel like just a little bit they took back to going back to the first point, they went back to the roots slightly, because if I'm not mistaken, we're like most Dynasty Warriors games, they're known for the 1v1000, but if I'm not mistaken, there's the Three Kingdoms games that are known for the strategy and the tactics and all that good stuff. So I feel like they mixed both worlds from Three Kingdoms games and the Dynasty Warriors games and just made a nice blend. And I feel like right then and there, people would really enjoy how the game flows, so on and so forth. Which goes into my next point, is the improved gameplay. Now, anybody who plays the demo, tell me, I was completely shocked, in absolute shock, that the way they just changed the way this game plays. And this goes back to having that nice big budget that they kind of, not want to say cut corners, but they wanted to just make a refresh to the series. The gameplay in itself, oh my lord, this probably is one of my most favorite combat or gameplay, so to speak, out of most of the Dynasty Warriors games. The controls are much more smoother. The fighting, the bringing back duels, like there's so many things that makes this game. Like I said, this video is just me nerding out about Dynasty Warriors, and I just needed a place to just talk about it. And I wanted to talk to you guys. So let me know in the comment section, what's your most favorite thing that you can't wait for when it comes to Dynasty Warriors Origins? But moving forward, the overall improved gameplay, like I said, going back to the action and strategy side of things. You also get to become like this general troop commander. Basically, you can have 21 troops come with you as you do specific different tactics. They can turn, like, you can do volley of arrows. You can send your troops to charge at your enemy. There's many abilities that they get. You can also partake in siege battles, and you can be able to ambush different castles and stuff. Like, there's so many things that this game has just did good, and it showed in the demo. So if whatever I experienced in that demo and they mean to tell me I'm gonna get more of that and better, that's another thing why I feel like a lot of people would definitely enjoy Dynasty Warriors. And for people who have never played Dynasty Warriors, this will be a great addition, like, to add them into it and just understand why there's such a, I would say, cult following, but it's like one of those games that's a cult classic, right? Playing Dynasty Warriors on my PS2, Dynasty Warriors 3, 4, and 5, and I know it was on PS3 as well. Like, playing it back then in the 2000s was just, oh my god, it was just great. And I feel like we're going back to those days, but just more modern, right? We're 2025. Like, this is going to do so much better than Dynasty Warriors 9. Like, even the demo did better than the entire game, in my opinion. If you're a fan of DW9, I'm sorry, but I'm just not, I can't do it, man. So as a fan of the series, seeing DWO being released and being produced the way it is, it's just a nice breath of fresh air. Don't even get me started on the story. Now, another thing about the gameplay, we gotta talk about the story, right? And this is 0.5 basically, but we got to talk about the story mode. Story mode is basically based on the Yellow Turban Rebellion all the way up to Battle of Chibi. Theoretically, this is a prequel, and I'm putting quotes around that one. This is a prequel to the Three Kingdoms ever being formulated. As anybody knows, when you read the Three Kingdoms novel, and if you play any of the Dynasty Warriors games, the Yellow Turbans is always like the first thing to happen, and that's pretty much what kicks off the next series of events in that timeline and all the wars that are going to be happening over years to come. Once the Three Kingdoms are formed in the story, then we as the player will need to actually like choose who views and values that we believe in. Now, this quite does set up a lot of different things, and you can honestly, this is the part that makes me the most excited, because us as a character, we get to choose who we side in. That may or may not play into us getting like more DLC or more sequels following this, because once again, the Battle of Chibi takes place way before the actual Three Kingdoms has started. So this is a prequel, right? There's still people out there like Cao Cao, Sun Zhuao, and all of them. So overall, there's so many things that we can receive at a later date, and they can be just as polished and just as good as the main game, because this is the Three Kingdoms, right? This is the whole point of Dynasty Warriors, right? So in this time period, we can get DLC. And just for timeline's sakes, just for some of you who are like numbers type of people, the Yellow Turbans start in the year 184, while the Battle of Chibi happens in the year 208. Basically saying the game will end 10 years prior to the Three Kingdoms forming. And one little story tidbit that I am thinking of, and I want you all to hear what you guys think about in the comments, maybe whatever our decisions we make throughout this game and who we view and who we help may partake into the Three Kingdoms formations 10 years after the fact. meaning the developers can take this route and go anywhere. They could do a DLC where whatever choices you make in the main game can carry on to the next game. So they can do stuff like that, right? That's me, just theory. That they don't have to do that, but they can just leave us as like, all right, here. But I definitely would hope there is some hope that we do get some form of like DLC where we can actually see the Three Kingdoms being formulated, and then it kicks off the rest of the overall wars that we come across, right? But finally, that is just Dynasty Warriors is a breath of fresh air, right? So Dynasty Warriors 9 received heavy mixed reception across the board, and Origins is looking to represent a chance for the series to return to its core strengths. It is still a brand new fresh start for fans, so that means if you never played a Dynasty Warriors game a day in your life, this could be a good start for you. Now, of course, there is one thing to keep in mind, because it's a good start. This is the first time we received a single playable character. In the older Dynasty Warriors games, we were able to actually play as any of the generals from the Three Kingdoms. But this time around, we're only playing as our main mystery protagonist whose story we learned throughout this time. And it's just going to be a new way for fans to get in touch with Dynasty Warriors. And it's just a gateway for any newcomers or, anybody seeking to get the thrill of the Three Kingdoms. But yeah, I just wanted to sit here and talk to you guys about Dynasty Warriors Origins. This is one of the games I just really been looking forward to, and we are literally less than 2 weeks away from it releasing. I can't wait to start streaming it. So if you want to see streams day one or within the first week, definitely subscribe to the channel. We got a lot of content to talk about Dynasty Warriors, and I want to see how the story plays out. But make sure to definitely like the video. Comment below what's your favorite thing about Dynasty Warriors Origins, if you play the demo or not, or what are you looking forward to if you've just been seeing hype videos around like mine. Hopefully today's video hyped you up enough to be able to ready for the next 2 weeks, because we got some gaming to do in January, bro, for sure. Other than that, I will leave my actual first impressions review of Dynasty Warriors Origins here on the card here, and I have it in the top right hand corner. But other than that, stay safe out there, and it's been your host, KSDTV, here at Chaotic Inc., signing out. Peace.